to our SI team at headquarters, and to all Soroptimists of being involved in and at CSW. For the moment, we have about 136 Soroptimists who will be present in New York, and many, many more who are participating online. Thank you all. So as time is running, we have a full program, so let's start with the household rules from our Global Executive Director, Deborah Thompson. Please, Deborah, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Bertha. So to let everybody know, we are recording this webinar today. So anybody who doesn't wish to appear in the recording, please can you switch off your camera? And if you don't wish to be identified, please change your name or remove your name from appearing on the screen altogether. Please remember that we do share these recordings. So the recordings are posted on our YouTube channel as well as on links on social media. So they are in effect publicly available. So if you don't wish to appear, please do switch off your camera. Also, as we are recording the webinar, please may I ask you all to remain muted throughout so that we can achieve the best quality recording, unless, of course, you are speaking. Questions can be posted in the chat section and they will be taken at the end of the webinar after the last speaker. You will also hear us refer to the 2026 resource pack, and that will be emailed today to everybody who was on the official SI delegate list. We will be emailing that after the webinar, and we will also be posting a link in the chat to where you can download the resource pack from the SI website. Thank you, Bertha.
Thank you, Deborah. And now, dear all, welcome to our President, Renata Tolkman. Renata, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Bert. And hello to everyone. And thank you for joining us today. It's encouraging to see delegates from across our membership preparing together for CSW70. This advocacy training webinar is designed to provide clear, practical guidance on participating in CSW70, whether you will attend in person or online. We will outline Soroptimists' international official site and parallel events, explain how they relate to the CS priorities theme, and share advice on engaging with confidence and purpose. CSW is a space for discussion and influence. As an organization with general consultative status with ECOSOC, Soroptimists International has both the opportunity and the responsibility to contribute informed, grounded perspectives. Our strength lies in the link between grassroots action and global policy. Preparation helps us make this link clear. Today's session will support you to navigate the program, represent Soroptimists International effectively, and engage in dialogue that advances our advocacy priorities. We will also cover practical steps for engagement, from participating in sessions to building connections across events. Your presence matters. Your voice carries the experience of women and girls in your communities. With preparation and clarity, we can ensure our contribution at CSW70 is focused, credible, and aligned with our mission to educate, empower, and enable all women and girls. Thank you for committing your time and energy to this important work. And by the way, what you see here is the new pin we just produced. You can pre-order it now, and we will bring your order to New York so that you can collect it at our SI event. This size. Ooh, where can you see it? Thank you.
Thank you.
That was my promotional video.
Thank you, Renata. Next slide, please. As we all know, the UN system is changing from having major financial problems to restructuring processes and institutions. Even the process of CSW is undergoing changes, which is known as the CSW revalidatation. Pat Black, our advocacy advisor, is the perfect person to give us the latest updates. Pat, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. And it's wonderful to see so many people from all parts of the globe, all parts of our organization. It is terrific. I'm so pleased to see so many people interested in CSW70 and amazed to hear the size of the delegation you will be leading, Renata. It's fantastic. As Bert has just said, we have seen some changes at the UN. They've been going on for some time now. You've probably read about it in the press. And probably over the last 10 years, the UN structures have been criticized and really had a lot of people pulling out of activities related to the UN. You probably have seen in the news that the Secretary General has indicated that the UN is in enormous financial difficulty. In fact, it is predicted to run out of money at the end of May/June. So in looking at the changes, the UN member states wanted to find financial savings, and they have already done so. The UN itself is already feeling the consequences of those financial savings. There have been changes of use of UN buildings. We have seen reductions in the opening times. And in fact, if you're at CSW70, you will actually see that, because they are not going to provide security after 6 o'clock in the evening. We've been used to CSW running over into the evenings, but no longer, because security will not be available after 6 o'clock. So the UN buildings will be closed down. There is a process of reduction and relocation of staff in the United Nations, and particularly UN Women and other UN agencies at the moment. The other points which have caused concern for member states of the UN, you may have picked up again from the news. There are issues with the Security Council and the use of the veto. There have been accusations of corruption and accusations of poor governance across United Nations and its agencies. And then I suppose the final thing which has put a nail in the coffin is that 60 plus member states at the moment are refusing, are not willing to pay their subscriptions to keep the United Nations going. And that means not willing to pay for things like agencies like UNICEF, UNESCO, WHO, World Health Organization. So it's in quite a dire strait. And 3 years ago, I think it is, the call for the revitalization of CSW came out of a schedule which included something called the methods of work for CSW. Not only, therefore, has there been an impact of all these other things that I talked about generally on the United Nations, through the United Nations itself, there has also been a need for a review of the way in which CSW works. There have been very small changes over the last few years, but this year, CSW70, we are seeing quite significant changes that are impacting on the CSW agenda. And part of it is because some of the members who have been complaining about CSW and the way it works are now members of that committee, of the commission itself. I won't name them, but I think if you have kept up to date with what is happening globally, you will probably recognize some of the names on the committee. As I said at the last session, we have member states who are elected from regions and represent those regions. So they make up the commission, and there are a number now of those member states sitting on the commission who are not fully supportive of the women's agenda. So, as I say, we have seen quite a significant change this year to CSW70, and particularly in relation to the agreed conclusions. There are all sorts of other resolutions which actually impact on women and girls under the umbrella of the United Nations. There is also the Beijing Platform for Action, which UN Women theoretically are supposed to monitor and see how that is taken forward. They are responsible for SDG 5 and gender equality and the implementation there. There are a whole range of issues which a number of the agencies, including UN Women, are responsible for, which relate to violence against women and girls. And I'll come back to that because that's an important part of CSW70. The major aspect for me that has changed, and to a certain extent for SI at New York, is that the agreed conclusions will not be negotiated at CSW70. And I'll give you some more details of that in a moment. But one of the reasons that, well, there are several reasons that we have been given for that not happening. And that is that in the past, and this has been an area for many, many years, which we as civil society, as non-governmental organizations, have been involved in and helped to support member states to reach agreed conclusions, which would then be presented at the end of CSW. That's no longer the case. And the reasons we've been given are that it's really interrupted the proper business of CSW. Now, I, for one, struggle to see that, but okay, that's the view of the member states. So it takes too much time out of their schedule for getting on with what they see as the proper business of CSW in committee. I don't agree with that. And I think a lot of NGOs don't agree with that. And so more emphasis has been given this year to discussions, debate, contributions at regional level. I think you're probably aware that the United Nations has a number of regional offices around the globe, and they have held consultation days, consultation sessions at which civil society has been invited, experts have been invited, and they have contributed to moving forward the Secretary General's report, which is published in January of the year that the CSW is due. And that's fair enough. Can understand that a lot of people can't get to New York. They're not able to afford the costs of New York. So therefore, being able to engage at a regional level with the regional organizations feeding into the Secretary General's report is actually probably an extremely good channel for many organizations, particularly from the developing South, the islands, areas where they haven't got necessarily a strong and fully financed civil society. So in previous years, can we go to the next slide, please? In the previous years, the agreed conclusions were negotiated during the course of the meeting, and it gave people like myself and Linda Whittong and Betty Levy and other people in New York the opportunity of talking directly to the negotiators, the people who were actually working on the text of the agreed conclusions, while the CSW was meeting, sometimes behind closed doors, sometimes in open committee. And at the end of the day, it did take a lot of time. It often meant we were working late into the night, which, if you remember, I said the United Nations will not be open after 6 o'clock. So that wouldn't be possible this year anyway. However, what's been happening is that member states have been having discussions amongst themselves to work on a text. There was a draft text provided by UN Women following the Secretary General's report. There was a draft text provided by UN Women at very short notice, and we were asked as non-governmental organizations, as civil society, to provide observations, put rewording into the text. And SI did so incredibly quickly, and this was shared with many member states. The second draft came out with an even shorter, much shorter turnaround time. I think I had half an hour. Some people might have had an hour, but I think it was very difficult to then provide contributions to the text that was being developed. One of the purposes was to keep the text very short. In the past, when we've had negotiations, the text at draft 1 and even draft 2 had been extensive, running sometimes into 50 pages. But this year, we were told that there could not be more than 10 to 12 pages, which was an enormous difference in terms of those negotiations. I think the 16th of February was when the discussions on the revised text were closed, and member states have now to agree whether they are going to accept what has come out of that second draft or whether they are not going to agree. And I was listening to Lopa Banerjee from UN Women about an hour ago, and she was saying that there is great doubt as to whether those negotiations will be completed. So we're still waiting to see. The intention is to present those conclusions as agreed, consensually, on the first day at the opening of the CSW70, which is Monday, the 9th of March. So they have very little time to come back with what will be a final draft or final agreed conclusions, which we will, as civil society, be presented with as a fait accompli. There will be no more ability to provide any input or to advocate or lobby around certain texts. And I can go into a lot of detail about why that is, but if you want to know, ask me questions later. The normal process of accepting the agreed conclusions at the end of CSW is therefore not taking place on the last day of the commission. The agreed conclusions will be presented on the first day, and it is assumed they will be accepted by consensus. And UN Women, although it's not in the actual programme, UN Women have included in the programme on the last day a suggestion, and it is only a suggestion at the moment, that member states will be able to make their reservations and comments at that point on Thursday, the 20th of March. They won't be able to make any changes during the 2 weeks that CSW is on, but they will possibly be given the opportunity to present those reservations on the last day. And that's one of the reasons why many of us suspect there will not be any agreed conclusions this year. However, that is the process that has been agreed by the member states on the Commission as part of the methods of work. They have also agreed a number of changes to the actual schedule, and you can find that on the official documents, the actual schedule of CSW, where you will see the various meetings, contributions that member states will make. This is not part of the side events or the parallel events, which you'll hear about later. Yeah. I'm just talking about the main committee meeting, the Commission on the Status of Women. And to try and, I'll try and finish here, to try and keep civil society happy, that's in inverted commas, being unfair here. UN Women and the Bureau have included one day where civil society is put to the forefront, and it will be a presentation of a celebration of member states' responses to violence against women and girls and how they are actually dealing with that as an issue. Now, if you've ever been to CSW before, you will know that when member states are provided with an opportunity to say what wonderful things they have done, they often bear no relationship to what is happening on the ground in a country. So there will be, I think it's 5 or 6 member states who will be doing a presentation on the day, a high-level event, it's called, on that one day. And then that will take the whole morning. And then in the afternoon, civil society and experts from academia or wherever will be invited to do presentations. And I shall be very interested to see, A, which member states will be presenting, and B, whether the civil society organizations from those countries agree with what is being presented on their behalf. If the remarks that on the 20th of March are agreed, I am assuming that it will be because they are doing their usual reservations. You know, we have our own sovereignty. We're not going to implement this particular text or this particular paragraph. Again, we have to wait and see how that will proceed.
Indeed, Pat.
Yeah.
Indeed, that happens.
Next year, there will be a review of the methods of work again. So we may see a change for CSW71. And it will be up to us in the interim to put in comments about how it has worked or not worked. Thank you. Sorry, I ran over.
Thank you, Pat. No, it's too interested, and we need to know this because it's very, very important. So I'm sure that we will be talking at CSW together and looking how things work out. And I think, like you said, civil society has to stick together and be active and present. Thank you for your presentation. So let's move on. Joe, can we have the next slide, please? Okay. For those who have missed the first webinar, a quick review about what Pat also said. We have an official part of CSW and we have side and parallel events. And while both side events and parallel events take place during the official part of CSW, and they contribute to the overall dialogue, they differ in status, organization, purpose, and the level of formality. As said, the side events are official events organized as part of the official CSW program and are organized by UN members, states, UN entities, and sometimes in partnership with civil society. They are normally held at UN headquarters or at official venues such as a mission. Only delegations of ECOSOC accredited NGOs such as we are allowed to follow these events in person, and some can be followed online via the UN Web TV. Schedule of these events will be published by UN Women, and you can find it on their website, but you have to check it regularly. Parallel events, as said, these are civil society-led events, and they take place outside the CSW. And they are not part of the official UN program. They are organized by NGOs, civil society organizations, grassroots groups, and even NGOs without an ECOSOC status can organize events. They must comply with the NGO CSW Forum guidelines, and they are approved by the NGO CSW New York. Mostly, these events are held outside the premises or online. Next slide, please. Let me remember you that participation at CSW for the official program, side or parallel event, is different. For attending the official part of the CSW and the side event, if you want to do that in person, you have to obtain your approved pass at the office in New York at 320 East 45th Street. The opening hours are from 9 to 4, but there will be special opening hours prior to the weekend of CSW. Be aware, there can be a long line. If you want to follow virtual, it's no problem. You don't need an official pass. You can follow on the UN Web TV. For the parallel events, whether you follow them online or in person, you need to register on the WUVA platform, and each need to do that individual. You can scan also the QR code or the link. Next slide, please. Way to participation. CSW is a big event and it can be overwhelming, certainly if you attend for the first time. But even for the habitués, it is good to keep in mind the following points. 1. Prepare yourself and familiarize yourself with SI positions prior to your attendance. We recommend you that you review the SI written statements for CSW70, which you can find on our website or even on the website of UN Women because it is an official document. Furthermore, it is important to familiarize yourself with relevant position papers, such as the position paper on access to justice, which we have been writing in January. You can find it on our website also. Secondly, you all need to understand that only the official spokesperson can make statements and declarations in name of SI. And at SI, there are only two people who can do that. And that is the SI International President or the SI Director of Advocacy. Representatives to the UN and other Soroptimists can speak only in alignment with our official policy, and they need prior approval from or the President or the Director of Advocacy. It is also very important to know that we need to give a consistent messages, meaning we speak as one organization with one voice and with the same voice. So all interventions need to be aligned with our position papers and the official statements. We would encourage you to use interactive opportunities to highlight SI position and also relevant federation projects. Make sure that your messages are clear, consistent and mindful, because they can have a long-time impact and alliances. So communication is important. Be mindful in tone and wording of your messages, because it can be misinterpreted and it won't be the first time. If you are unsure about the post or comment, please contact the SI President or the SI Director of Advocacy for guidance. And at last, but not least, join us and have fun at the reception in New York on March 10th at 6 o'clock. As mentioned, you can find all the information in the reviewed resource package, which is published on the SI website and will be sent to all of you. Next slide, please. This year, I have to say, we all worked as a Soroptimist team together to create 5 side events and 5 parallel events. And each of these events are linked to the 5 pillars of SI. And I'm very proud of the work of each working group. And so I have asked each chair to give a little presentation of their work. So let's start. The 5 side events will be presented by Ulla, Tanja, Pascal, Linda, and Hannah, followed by the 5 parallel events, which will be presented by Pascal, Laura, Alice, Nina, and Lindsay. Ulla, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Berthe. Hello, everyone. It is my great pleasure to present the side event Climate Justice and Gender Equality, addressing the impact of climate change on indigenous women and girls. This event is organized by Soroptimists International, the International Work Group for Indigenous Affairs, also a member of the Danish delegation, and the Permanent Mission of Denmark to the United Nations. The UN mission of Mexico or Colombia might be co-sponsoring the side event, but it is not yet confirmed. Next slide, please. Climate change is one of the most pressing human rights and development challenges of our time, and its impacts are deeply shaped by structural inequalities. It is not gender neutral, nor does it affect communities equally. Indigenous women and girls stand at the intersection of gender discrimination, marginalization, and environmental powerlessness. Climate change exacerbates existing inequalities. In many indigenous communities, women hold primary responsibility for food production, caregiving, and the preservation of cultural traditions. When ecosystems are disrupted, their workloads increase, economic independence declines, and the risk of poverty, gender-based violence, and exploitation rise crucially. While key international frameworks, including the United Nations Declaration of the Rights of Indigenous Peoples, Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, the CEDAW, the Paris Agreement, and the Beijing Declaration and Platform for Action, recognize the importance of gender-responsive and rights-based climate action. Significant implementation gaps remain. Climate justice requires stronger action that recognizes Indigenous women and girls as rights holders, leaders, and agents of change. The Danish Minister for Environment and Gender Equality, Magnus Heunicke, will deliver the opening remarks at the side event. Among the distinguished panelists is Aya Shemnist of Greenland, a member of the Danish Parliament, alongside with other representatives from Indigenous women's communities who will be confirmed shortly. Our discussion will focus on recognizing Indigenous women as leaders and rights holders, ensuring their meaningful participation in climate governance and integrating gender equality into climate solutions. In line with the CSW70, representing a critical opportunity to advance the integration of gender equality and climate justice, ensure the meaningful participation of Indigenous women and girls in climate governance, and promote fair access to the resources and decision-making spaces necessary for sustainable and inclusive climate solutions. Participation at the side event is by invitation only because it is in the mission. But if you are attending the CSW70 in person and have a strong interest in this topic, please feel free to contact me by email, which I will share in the chat, and I will do my best to accommodate your request. Thank you. You're muted, Berthe.
I want to be safe that I didn't interrupt you. Thank you, Hilla. Please, Tanya.
Hi, everyone. It's a really great honor to invite you to join the Soroptimists International Site event at the 70th session of the Commission of the Status of Women, co-hosted with ITU and their flagship program Equals, and they are launching the new framework Equals 2.0. And we are going to touch women's participation in digital public life from commitments to systems that deliver. Our event will take place on the 13th of March, Friday, from 3 p.m. to 4:15 p.m. EST in the conference room 8 and it will be in UNGA, the General Assembly building. Next slide, please. We are advocates for all women and girls empowerment for over a century. Soroptimists International has witnessed how every technological transition brings both progress and peril. This digital age is no different. Today, AI systems and digital infrastructures are not neutral. They mirror the biases, values, and structures of those who are designing them. And that's why women's leadership and participation in digital governance is not optional. It's essential for a fair and sustainable progress. Next slide, please. On this side event, we will explore how we can move from commitment to systems that truly deliver for all women and girls worldwide. We will be guided by the Equals 2.0 pillars. Next slide, please. To architecture the change, we are going to be focusing on 3 pillars from the Equals Coalition, and that is emerging tech for inclusion. How can we ensure that artificial intelligence empowers rather than excludes, for example? What challenges biases bring, and how can we work to remove those biases? And why women and girls must shape the decisions, right? The second pillar is safe and inclusive digital spaces. And safety online is not just a security issue, but is a precondition, a prerequisite to be able to participate on the digital economy, for example. And that digital safety is a way to allow women and girls' voices be valid and fluent. We will be checking also how digital public infrastructure has a role on that. And the third pillar will be digital skills and leadership pathways, because all women and girls across generations and geographies are in the capacity to lead, innovate, and influence. Next slide, please. And now, yes, how can we measure the impact? And I can tell you that Soroptimists International will bring to this conversation lived realities of grassroots projects, women leaders, and the expertise of policymakers, and the conviction that technology must be built with human rights and gender equality at its core. And in the spirit of multilateral collaboration, we will have not only ITU, Equals, UN Women, the industry, but civil society is taking part of it. So I really like to invite you to join on the 13th of March to rethink together how digital systems can be designed and how can we thrive being included. I really need to tell you that the room capacity is very limited, and together with ITU and Equals, we are trying to figure out how to make this an optimal registration. So please pay attention. We might have a situation of invitation only, or we have a registration, or we will leave it open and then you will need to arrive 1 hour before so that you can get a seat on the room. Thank you very much, and I look very much forward to welcoming you in conference room 8, Friday, 13th of March at 3 p.m. EST. Thank you, Berthe.
Thank you, Danya. Next slide, please. And Pascal, the floor is yours.
Hello, everybody. It's a great honor to be here. Thank you so much for all of you to spend your time today to find out more about what's happening in New York. And hopefully I will meet you all in New York as well. I will be talking twice. I have a side event that I will be presenting, and then later on I'll be presenting a parallel event. But both events are all about water. Now, you've already heard Ulla speak about the importance of climate change and the negative effects that climate change is having on women. But we felt that this year specifically, we wanted to pull out water specifically into events. And I'll explain in a minute why. The first event, the side event, will be happening on Wednesday, the 11th of March in the afternoon at 4 p.m. at the Commonwealth Secretariat. So not in the UN building, but very close to the UN building on 3rd Avenue. It will be hosted by the Joint Office for the Commonwealth Missions to the UN and ourselves, Soroptimists International. The room is not that big, so if you are interested, please do come. And we will be having spokespersons from Soroptimists on 4 key geographic areas that have water challenges. We will be having a Soroptimist speaker from India, one from Africa, one from the small island states, and one from Australasia, Malaysia. Next slide, please. Why are we focusing on water and women on top of our general focus on climate change that Ulla has been talking about? Because 70% of the world is water. And of that 70%, 95% of the world's water is in the oceans. And we came from the ocean. You know, we were evolutionary, we've risen up from the water, and therefore the water has given us life. And yet now it is being threatened. And in the same way, women are suffering from the challenges that water is seeing because of climate change. Women are like water, life-giving, and also incredibly important to the communities around the world. And the climate change crisis, which the latest UN report has called a water bankruptcy, you know, so bad is it already at the moment. The water crisis is really affecting women all around the world. I've given you there some key realities. 380 million women and girls already today are living under significant water stress. And that can be anything. It can be not enough water and drought, but it can be too much water and, you know, so rising sea levels causing floods and causing, in some cases, loss of their land. It can be dirty water or not enough access to safe water. And it can also be economical. Half of the fisheries and agriculture workforce in the world are women, and they are often employed in lower paid jobs. If we are attacking water, if our oceans are no longer healthy and are no longer able to sustain the fishing population as they are already not, then those economic realities will also change. And we know what happens when economic realities change. Again, women are the most vulnerable. So we wanted to acknowledge the strong link there is between water and women. And next slide, please. Can we have the next slide? Okay, well, I'll talk without the next slide. 2026 is a key, thank you, is a key year for bringing water to the front, because it is the UN International Year of Water and Gender Equality. The UN will be launching a campaign around that with, I think, a lovely slogan, where water flows, equality grows. And it is true, where we can address the water inequalities and the water challenges, we also at the same time address the rights of women and girls. because this is the UN Year of Water and Gender Equality, there are two major events happening. There is the UN World Water Development Report that will be launched on March the 19th, actually in New York. And the title of that is Water for All People, Equal Rights and Opportunities. It has done a big assessment of the equality situation around water or driven by water around the world. And it is found, unsurprisingly, that we need to do better. And we also have the UN Water Conference in December 2026 in the UAE, December 4th to the 6th of 2026, which will again be looking at the major treaties and the major resolutions around the water area. So we wanted to run an event that will highlight the link of water and women. And we also wanted to showcase that women are already part of the solution. We have so many projects of valiant Soroptimists and other NGOs who are fighting for clean water, more water, the right water, and are succeeding. And we wanted to showcase that so that hopefully we can get more empowered women also in the whole climate change debate and also in the whole water debate to have a voice. We want to mobilize our networks and around these two events, and I will cover that specific aspect when I'm talking about the parallel event. There will be virtual ways that everybody can join if you cannot join us face-to-face in the room. But I hope to see you on March the 11th in the afternoon at the Commonwealth. Thank you.
Thank you, Pascal. Lola, the floor is yours.
Fantastic. Thank you, Bert. So I'm Lola Abrahamian, and it's my honor here today to invite you to our presentation on breaking the code, AI, artificial intelligence, cultural norms, and ending cyber violence against women and girls. This is a CSW side event, and it discusses cyber violence against women and girls. The date is Friday the 13th at 11, and the venue will be the Joint Office for Commonwealth Missions to the UN. This event is co-hosted by Soroptimist International and Commonwealth Business Women's Network. Next slide, please. Thank you. So what we're going to be discussing at this event is digital crisis facing women and girls. Artificial intelligence systems encode discriminatory bias and enable digital violence. So artificial intelligence is reshaping economy, society, culture and politics at unprecedented speeds, creating opportunities for both innovation and expression, meanwhile simultaneously enabling new forms of discrimination and violence against all women and girls. And AI-enabled digital violence has expanded its reach. It is surging. Online sites normalize thought and conduct. Human rights advocates who challenge this face harassment and threats that escalate to offline violence or threat, including grooming for human trafficking, sexual labor, and etc. Non-consensual synthetic intimate images, such as, for example, child sexual assault material, pornography, deep fake pornography, and stalking and doxing, targeting women and girls at an alarming rate and frequency. Women and girls are silenced and driven out. Women and girls are not only silenced online, but driven to withdraw entirely from social, cultural, and political and economic participation, both online and offline. So we need to discuss accountability mechanisms which have failed thus far due to fragmented and biased governance. excuse me, this panel that we've put together, this will be a panel discussion, brings together expertise across social justice advocacy, law enforcement, private sector, and multilateral governance to examine what meaningful digital justice for all women and girls demands. Next slide, please. This discussion will consider both the threats posed by AI systems and the potential of AI-enhanced tools to connect survivors with the necessary services and hold multiple actors accountable. The moderator for this event will be Linda Witong, who is the SI Advocacy Advisor and Vice Chair of the Board Alliance of NGOs on Crime Prevention and Criminal Justice. The speakers will be Caroline Van Hoefel, who's Global Cyber and Digital Risk Management, Detective Maurice Kwan from the Los Angeles Police Department, Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force, Dr. Vanessa Rosser, who is the Ambassador Representative for WOLF, which is the World of Life Christian Fellowship, and myself, and I'm a retired lieutenant from the Glendale Police Department in Southern California. So some of the key questions that we'll be addressing in this presentation is, how can international governance ensure artificial intelligence aligns with gender equality and human rights? What safeguards protect diverse women and girls in AI data sets? How can AI survivors, without creating new surveillance or autonomy risks, can support survivors? What mechanisms allow challenges to unfair algorithm decisions? What does meaningful participation in AI development look like? So I hope that that we will find you there. And one of our key discussions will be, the algorithm has already been written. The question is whether women and girls will have an equal say in rewriting it. So I hope that you will join us. Our event is, as stated earlier, will be March the 13th at 11 o'clock at the Commonwealth Secretariat, and the information it'll be at the 695 3rd Avenue on the 11th floor. Our venue will hold approximately 100 people, and so I would encourage you to get there early so that you can attend and get a seat. So that's it, my presentation. Thank you, and I hope to see you all there.
Thank you,
Barrett.
Lola. Thank you. Hannah, you're next.
Thank you, Bart. So our final side event that we're organizing during CSW70 focuses on education, and the title is Knowledge is Power, Education as the First Step to Justice for Women and Girls. So this side event is being organized by a great team of volunteers at Soroptimists International alongside our colleagues at Graduate Women International. It will be held on Wednesday, the 11th of March at 3 p.m. Eastern Time, and it will be hosted at the Permanent Mission of Ireland to the UN. We're also really grateful because we have received support from, as well as Ireland, we've also received support from the permanent missions of Sierra Leone and Mongolia to the UN, as well as UNESCO, the UN Sustainable Development Solutions Network, the UN Digital Library, and Credit Access India, which is a private bank. Can I have the next slide, please? So why are we looking at education? Well, education underpins a lot of the work that we do at Soroptimists International. Our motto is to educate, empower, and enable women and girls. And we know that education is really one of the most powerful vehicles that we have to advance gender equality, human rights, and access to justice. And last year, in the UNESCO Global Education Monitoring Report, it highlighted that at least 129 million girls remain out of school globally. And in addition to that, we know that women and girls who face intersecting forms of discrimination are at increased risk of being excluded from education. And when we're talking about education, of course, we're not only talking about formal education, we're also talking about different forms of education, including informal education. So this is clearly an intergenerational problem, and it also poses significant questions on access to justice. So we are excited to have a cross-sector panel, which will include experts from UNICEF, from the Malala Fund, from academia, private sector, and also from the UN Special Rapporteur on the Right to Education. So the objectives of this event really are to highlight the transformative role that lifelong education has in advancing gender equality and access to justice. So we want to present evidence from the grassroots and best practices that demonstrate how education does improve justice outcomes for women and girls. We want to look at barriers as well and understand better why are women and girls consistently excluded from accessing education. So this can be structural barriers, cultural, economic, digital, the list goes on. In this space, however, because we have such a diverse panel, we really want to open it up to look at how we can partner and how we can work collaboratively across sectors, including ourselves as an NGO, but also with governments, with the private sector, and other experts to really promote education initiatives for women and girls in all stages of life to ensure that they can access justice. And so just to tie all of that up, we really want to come out of this event creating actionable recommendations, not only for CSW, but beyond CSW. We want to come away with clear policy and advocacy recommendations that we can actually implement and promote in our national, regional, and global frameworks in terms of advancing access to education and justice for all women and girls. So thank you so much. We hope to see you there, and I will pass back to you, Bart.
Thank you. Just one thing, this event on education is just hosted by the Irish Mission and will take place at the Irish Mission itself. Thank you very much. And now we go over to the parallel events. Pascal, the floor is yours.
Okay, hello again. I hope you all still remember what I told you earlier about the importance of water and women and the key link, which is why we also wanted to organize a parallel event. Now, the parallel event has the benefit of also being able to accommodate non-ECOSOC members. It will be held on the 11th of March as well, but this time you're going to have to get up early because we're starting at 8:30 in the morning, which probably means we'll all be there panicking at 7. And we, in this case, have been really, really lucky and proud to get the support from the UAE and Senegal. Both UAE and Senegal have said that they will be sending a high-level spokesperson to talk at this parallel event. So for once, a parallel event will actually have quite a heavy member state contribution as well. We've also invited the Brazil Minister for Women Affairs, and we hope that she will be coming as well. So it is a great event to attend. It will be at the church center on the 10th floor. The rooms and the church center are about 100 people as well. So if you want to join, get up early, get a coffee, and come and join us then. Now, the key part that I wanted to emphasize here is that what we also want to do is we want to really, on both of the events on water and women, spread outside of New York and outside of CSW. We of course hope that everybody who is there will be joining us, but there are so many of us and so many grassroots clubs who are already fighting this fight, and so we wanted to include them. So next slide, please. So if what we are trying to do is we are trying to amplify the messages that we are bringing in both events, from the green little circle at the bottom there, which is the CSW event, all the way through to for example, the water conference in December of this year. The way we do that is by, first of all, obviously, trying to make sure that everybody can come to the event, as many as possible, but also to then emphasize that these are the blue circles through social media. So you should be receiving messages via SI and maybe via other NGOs about these two events. If you have grassroots organizations who are working in this area, please pass on the message. We will be having a Zoom webinar running at the same time as the actual event. So if the timings work, and I realize we're from all around the world, so for some of it might be midnight, but if the timings work, then you can also join us virtually, or you can tell others who you know are interested in these events to join us virtually in both events. Both events will again would showcase the SI and other NGOs, in the case of the parallel event, grassroots activities that are happening, and we will be creating a conversation around those activities that hopefully will carry us through all the way through to the water conference in December, where we will then be able to bring your voices. So I hope to see you either in person or virtually on either of those or both of those events. Thank you.
Thank you, Pascal, very much. Okay, Laura, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Berthe. Dear Soroptimists, thank you very much for joining us today. I would like to briefly introduce an upcoming CSW parallel event organized by Soroptimists International, which will take place on 11th March 2026 at 12:30 at the UN Church Center in New York under the title Access to Education in the Digital Era, Lifelong Learning for All Women and Girls Equality. Education is a foundational human right and access to justice. This event reflects a core Soroptimist priority, advancing women's and girls' empowerment through education in a rapidly transforming digital world. Digital transformation is reshaping education systems and labor markets. However, it also risks deepening gender inequalities if issues of access, affordability, and digital skills are not addressed through gender-responsive policies. Our focus is on lifelong learning as a continuum across the life course. Next slide, please. The structure of the event is designed to ensure a dynamic and well-balanced discussion, bringing together policy, academia, civil society, and youth perspectives, and combines three key components. First, an expert roundtable on lifelong learning as a policy tool for equality and empowerment will open with a keynote by Mrs. Katerina Patsogianni, Secretary General for Equality and Human Rights of the Greek Ministry of Social Cohesion and Family Affairs, presenting the Greek example of gender-responsive digital education policy. She will be followed by Martina Rogato, professor at Lewis University. Her intervention will be framed through moderated questions. Second, the civil society perspective will then be presented collectively by the Soroptimist International Federations. It will be a showcase of Soroptimist best practices, highlighting innovative and transferable models from across the federations. From SI Europe, the Leadership Academy of the Greek Union under the title Woman Leader in the Age of AI, and the AI Ambassadors of the SIE AI Task Force. From SI Americas, STEAM Worlds and Beyond, Dream It, Be It, Career Support for Girls Program. From SI Great Britain and Ireland, Think Before You Click Program. From SI Africa, Adult Literacy Project. From SI Southeast Asia Pacific, Respect My Boundaries Project. And third, a more interactive session, an youth-led discussion with young Soroptimists and Q&A with the audience. Through this event, Soroptimist International aims to deliver a clear message to CSW70. Digital education must be inclusive, accessible, and lifelong if we are to achieve equality for all women and girls. We look forward to engaging Soroptimists worldwide, as well as our institutional and civil society partners before, during, and after CSW70 to strengthen our collective advocacy on justice and education in the digital era. Thank you.
Thank you, Laura. Alice, Alice,
Yes.
floor is yours.
Thank you very much, and hello to everyone. I'm pleased to present another parallel event that is entitled Below the Surface of Work Flexibility, Empowering the Next Generation with Financial Health. The event will take place on March 12th at the Church Center. It is organized by Soroptimists International of Europe in collaboration with Soroptimists International and the Global Thinking Foundation. And in organizing this event, I work closely with Sabine Reimann, Iris Burkhalter, Mara Costantino, and Dagmar Lipper. So all the event and the participation is thanks of the work of the group. Next slide, please. Our main focus is the dual nature of work flexibility. Since the COVID-19 pandemic, flexibility has become a financing feature of labor markets worldwide. It is often presented as empowerment, offering autonomy and work-life balance. However, for many women and girls, flexibility can also mean unstable income, with weak social protection, pension gaps, and long-term financial vulnerability. The event will explore this contradiction. We will examine how part-time work, informal employment, gig work, remote work, and platform-based labor can create opportunities, but also reinforce structural inequalities when not properly regulated. Our discussion will bring together experts, international organizations, and civil society voices. We will present cross-country and interregional data on income, savings, pensions, and financial inclusion. We will hear testimonies and best practices demonstrating how financial resilience can be built across the life course for all women and girls. And this is thanks also to the contribution of Claudia Segre from Global Thinking Foundation, Zora Driss from the CVDT Tunisia, and Adebuzui Olotayo Olumadewa from the Do the Dreams Youth Development Initiative of Nigeria. Next slide, please. The objectives of the events are quite clear, but we aim to, first of all, expose how flexibility can mask structural gender inequalities. We would like to emphasize financial health as a cornerstone of gender equality and long-term empowerment. And we would like to highlight the importance of legal frameworks and policy reform to safeguard women and girls all over the world. And finally, we would like to translate this kind of discussion into actionable commitments that strengthen economic resilience for future generations. So our session will include interactive audience engagement, thanks also to the presentation of some a roundtable discussion and some practical examples from Soroptimists International of Europe. We aim to move beyond rhetoric and ask a central question, that is, how can work flexibility become a genuine pathway to empowerment rather than a new layer of precarity for all women and girls? So we warmly invite you to join us for this solution-oriented discussion, we hope. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Alice. Very nice. Nina, the floor is yours.
Hello, everybody. The title of this parallel event is Turning Silence into Justice, the Best Practices Against Gender-Based Violence. The event will be taking place on the 8th floor of the Church Center of the United Nations, and that will be on March 12 at 10:30 a.m., so not that early. We hope to see many of you. And also, it is organized by the Taiwan Coalition Against Violence, with whom we have worked in the past several times, and we have had successful events. And this is, of course, in partnership with us, Soroptimists International, and the Pan-Pacific and Southeast Asia Women's Association of Canada, as well as the new Taipei city government. Next, please. Next slide. The best practices that break the silence and showcase Survivor Center will be presented first by the new Taipei city government, by Miss Xian from the Domestic Violence and Sexual Assault Prevention Center. Her topic will be empowering survivors beyond safety, justice, recovery, and collaboration in New Taipei City. Then we will have Miss Lin from Taichung City Government. She is the Deputy Director General for Social Affairs Bureau, and her topic will be Bridging Justice, Taichung's Integrated Response to Sexual Violence. We are also going to have our Soroptimists International Director of Advocacy, Berth DeVos. And her topic will be From Silence to Justice, Realizing the Promise of the CEDAW. And from SI Bombay Chembur in India, we will have Dr. Daphne Pillai, who is also the chairperson of the Mahatma Education Society's Pillai Group of Institutions. And her topic is going to be the power of a second chance, education pathways of gender justice and dignity. I will also be speaking as the founder of SWF International and an FGM activist on West Africa. And my topic will be the nonviolent movement of ending FGM, female genital mutilation, from silence to justice. It is wonderful that we are going to highlight how integrated approaches using law, education, local governance, and civil society can actually transform silence into justice. And of course, most important is that we will amplify the lessons that can inform policy, prevention, and accountability at local, national, and international level. We hope that you will be joining us, and we look forward to seeing everyone, as many as possible, there. Thank you.
Thank you, Nina. And now, last but not least, Lindley.
Thank you very much. I think my picture's there. There it is. Take that down. Thank you. Okay, so our SIGBY parallel event is about health. We've called it Invisible No More, and we're looking at women's voices on perinatal depression, policy and power. It's on Friday the 13th. I'm looking for some at 2:30, not 1:30. It's 2:30 on the 10th floor of the church centre, and it's being co-helped by the Medical Women's International Association, or MWIA. If you notice behind my head, there is a QR code. That QR code will take you to our website. This parallel event has grown like Topsy, and we have a website that we've set up all about perinatal depression, and it's a growing medium. Next slide, please, Joe. So why did we pick on perinatal mental health? Well, we know that 1 in 6 women globally, so that's more than 20 million women a year, are impacted by perinatal mental health. It's a common condition, but it's invisible. It's invisible within gender equality policies, and it's under-prioritized in social protection systems. We know that in low resource or unequal settings have better outcomes than women where there is good paid parental leave, for example, and good support. So our objectives are to elevate a lived experience of perinatal depression amongst students, to highlight how community-based approaches will actually make things better for these women, to strengthen that advocacy on maternal mental health, and to advance integrated gender responsibility messages for governments. We have some speakers. We have some film of 2 women speaking from India about their experiences. We're going to compare what goes on in different countries, look at current treatment. But at the end of the day, we're asking the people coming to this seminar to talk about what's going on in their country and to go away with a promise of an action that they will take forward. So there is quite a bit of discussion times built into our webinar as well. Sorry, into our event. We're going to record the sessions, but we're not going to stream it live because it'll be too difficult. And everything put together and all the presentations will end up on that website, which we will hopeful that people will share it with women suffering from perinatal mental health issues, and it will be a place for them to go and find more resources, and also for professionals to find more resources. So I mean, I couldn't have done it without Sandra from SI Sweden, so I need to say thank you to her for the work she's put into all of this. But we want less disparity and better treatment and better outcomes for women suffering from this, because not only do the women suffer, but their children suffer too, long-term consequences for women. So that's our session, and I'll keep it quick because I know time's probably getting a bit low. But I would like to also quickly plug that I'm also speaking at a SERVAS panel on the Monday, first day of CSW, at 12:30, again in the church centre on the 8th floor. And it's called Voices Across Borders. But I'm going to cover trafficking and the work that's been done on trafficking at local Soroptimist levels. So I'm just plugging that as well. So thank you, Bert.
Thank you, Linda. You have all heard I said this excellent work, as we welcome you all there, and we would love to see many of you. And we will record when we don't have the possibility to stream or to go online. We will record the events as much as possible, and we will share them all later on. You will find QR codes in the resource package, and you can log in. Then you certainly you get all the results and the recordings. Okay, next slide. Are we there? Thank you, Joe. You were quicker than I thought. The International Women's Day. This year, the International Women's Day will be celebrated on Sunday, March 18th, and there will be a rally which starts at 11 o'clock in the morning from Times Square. It is a global day to celebrate women's achievement and a call for gender equality, focusing on the collective impact and support. UN Women has chosen the theme Rights, Justice, Action for All Women and Girls. And I would like to invite you all Soroptimists who are physically attending CSW and who are in New York at that time, to join us in the rally and to create awareness for equal rights and justice for all women and girls. We will be there with a large banner of Soroptimists International, and we would like as many as possible to join in this rally. Make it a great day together to start CSW. Furthermore, the UN Symphony Orchestra, in partnership with the UN Voices for Peace, will present a global Women in Music initiatives, which featured the female composers around the world to advance gender equality. This event will take place on Friday, the 13th of March, and tickets are available. You will find the QR code in the resource package, or you can contact Lindsley Green. She has all the information to join the symphony. Thank you. Next slides, Joe. And this will be an information about writing blogs and photos, and I will give the floor to Joe because he is implicated in this immediately. Thank you, Joe.
Thanks, Bert. Yeah, so it's my turn now. So while you're all at CSW, we want to clearly capture our engagement. So that's going to be through blogs, photos, and potentially videos as well, if you can take them throughout. So starting with blogs, if you attend an event and would like to write about it, please keep your blog to around 500 words. So we'd like you to focus on personal observations, so what stood out to you, key insights, themes, or moments that felt important. So it's something that we value is first-hand perspectives that you're getting from the events to make them come across very authentic and showcase like your involvement in the commission. And it's also good to make sure that these are aligned where you can with one of the SI pillars. So just including some link there in the blogs that you provide. So just making sure that they reflect your personal observations and voice. And just a quick note, if you use any AI tools to help structure or refine your writing, this can cause the text to sound a bit repetitive or generic, particularly when many people are doing it. So want you to just make sure that it is coming across in your voice when you send it over to us. And if you can send them over within 1 to 2 days of the event when you've attended it, so that we can publish them promptly on the website. And last point is just to include your name and SI Club if you want to be credited. So we'll be keeping that on the SI blog, and we'll be looking out for strong quotes, key statements, or useful statistics, which will help us create more impactful and varied content to go out on social media when promoting these. So next on photos, high quality images make a big difference. So ideally where they're clear and well lit and landscape, although that's not a hard rule if you get good portrait photos. Capture speakers, panels, audience engagement, or moments that show SI and Soroptimists actively participating throughout. And these are very useful for us to kind of post more about CSW in the long term. So in reflections, when we have good photos that we can refer back to, and other campaigns and comms stuff that we do, just to talk about what we did at CSW or what we've done throughout the year. So short videos are also welcome if you just keep them under 1 minute and keep them quite simple. So you could just send maybe a short video that we could put on the Soroptimist story, saying something like, I've just attended an event on health or violence against women and girls, and here's 3 things that I learned. And then if we receive, so that's just one example, but you can also just get other clips of key moments as they come up. If we get enough video content, we may be able to produce a short compilation video or clips to go on social media again. So 2 more points. So we have communications materials available for you to use to promote SI events and engagement on a Trello board. So that includes some social media cards for each event, although I'll be updating those just with the last versions of the concept notes and titles and times. We've also got the SI postcard and customizable Canva graphics that can be used just a bit more flexibly. So all blogs, photos and videos, if you can submit them to communications@soroptimistinternational.org and just keep CSW70 blog somewhere in the subject line, and then perhaps the title of the blog or the topic, just because it makes it so much easier to sort through them and organize them and keep track of everything that's coming through. Yeah, I think that's all of my key points to cover.
Thank you, Joe. Before we're going to close, I don't think that we have much time for Q&A because we are over time already. Lindsley wants to say something about the symphony. Just Lindsley, your floor is for you. 1 minute, please.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, there is a concert on the Friday night. I am looking to get some group tickets because we can get a really good discount if we get a group rate. But I need to know pretty quickly now if people want to come. So if you can pass the word out to people that are coming to CSW, if they want to come on that evening. it'll be $36 for a ticket. So it is a really good concert. So people can contact me at programdirector@sigby.org if you do want to get a ticket, and you can pay me later. Thank you.
Thank you, Lindsay. So, dear Renata, some closing remarks for you.
Yes, with pleasure. I thank you all for your time and engagement today. Your participation reflects the strengths and commitment of delegates from across Soroptimists International as we prepare for CSW70. We have covered the practical steps for participation, outlined our side and parallel events, and looked at how to engage in many ways that reflect our advocacy priorities. Preparation gives us clarity. It allows us to speak with purpose, ask informed questions, and connect our work to global policy discussions. CSW is a moment of visibility, but it is also part of a longer process. The conversations you join, the partnerships you build, and the messages you reinforce will shape our work beyond the session itself. Each delegate contributes to how Soroptimists International is understood in these spaces. Thank you for your continued commitment. I look forward to seeing how you engage during CSW70 and how the impact you can make together in the weeks and months that follow.